Hit me up. Hey, welcome everybody to Art of Relationships show. Going to be talking about, are you doing all the work? And I appreciate everybody tuning in from all over the place. Okay. So I get this often in my office. Okay. And I hear this all the time. Greg, I'm the one that's doing all of the work. I'm the glue that holds the relationship together. And my question is, okay, what happens if you stop? Okay, what happens if you cut back a little bit and allow your person, your partner, to sort of do their part? A lot of people are afraid of, excuse me, of connecting, and they're afraid that if they don't do all the work in the relationship, what's going to happen is that nothing will get done. Okay, let's be honest. A lot of people will look at, they won't even nothing will get done. The relationship or marriage are going to fall apart. But I look at, if you're doing all the work, you are going to become exhausted. You are going to become burned out. Everybody talks about, I work too much, or I do this, I'm exhausted, I have 5 kids, work, all that going on. So a lot of people get burned out, they get exhausted. To be able to look at holding their person accountable. And my question is about a balance, right? It's not going to be 50-50 all the time. I know this, okay? I'm a realist. And looking at, excuse me, and looking at, what that balance looks like, and when do you feel your partner is there for you, right? Is it, maybe intimacy, maybe sexually, right? Are they there for you supportive as far as household chores? What about finances? So there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people will look at, doing all the work in a relationship, and it's very subjective. And to be able to look at what actually is going on and what that means to you, as far as that your partner is putting forth the effort. And more importantly would be the element that, how can I say this, that what your partner, what you are doing is working. Okay. A lot of people will bust their butt. And you've heard me talk about this on other show episodes. To be able to look at, what, I'm doing this, I'm doing 100 things, and your person doesn't really need those things. I want them to be appreciated, absolutely, but they might not really do or work, I should say, for your person. Maybe they don't work for you, what your partner is doing, and the person's complaining, griping. I'm doing everything to make this relationship work and making my person feel loved, appreciated, desired, all those elements. But then it comes to a point where, you know what? It ain't working, right? And your person still is frustrated, still doesn't feel loved, still doesn't feel desired. So we have to break it down. Number one, what are you doing to actually feel like you are doing all the work in a relationship? Number two, are you ignoring your person's effort, your partner's efforts, and what they're doing in a relationship or marriage? Okay. And number three is, what you're doing, or both of you, what you're doing, is it working? Does it meet the needs of what your relationship, marriage, and what you need as an individual? Okay. Hey, Haida, I appreciate you joining in on Instagram there. So, looking at, if you are doing all the work in a relationship, you need to reflect on those aspects. Again, real quick, okay? You need, what you're doing, does it work for your relationship, your marriage, or your person? Is it what they need to feel loved, to feel respected, to feel desired, to feel, maybe important, appreciated, that type of situation? Number two, is it, what? Do you recognize what your person is doing, what your partner is doing for the relationship? Okay. Or do you take it for granted or ignore that? Because a lot of people will look at the situation. I'm doing everything in this relationship, I'm the only one keeping it together. And we forget, or maybe we take for granted what our person is doing for the relationship, or for the marriage, or even for us. Okay. So that's number two. And number three is looking at, is it actually working? What your efforts are doing, okay? Or what can be done differently? That's more crucial to be able to look at, hey, what is going on, okay, and what needs to be done. So, and going after an avenue, and you have to break it down into relationships, right? Or I'm sorry, categories, right? It could be finances, it could be household chores, it could be parenting, definitely, right? And what about intimacy in those elements? Okay, sexual relationships. And a lot of people feel like, oh, if I don't do anything, nothing's going to happen. That I always have to initiate. I'm the one that's always taking care of the kids, whatever it is. Okay, I'm the one that's doing all the housework, but then you're forgetting your partner is paying all the bills, or what, they're doing the trash, taking care of the yard, any home improvement projects. You forget about that. It's very easy, right? We become, as people, as humans, we become very biased, and we put blinders on, and we ignore what our person is doing. So, going after, if you are looking at, you are the only one making your person feel loved, feeling respected, feeling desired, and feeling appreciated and important, excuse me, do you talk about your person? Do you come to them, or do you yell and scream and say, I do this? You attack, versus come to them with your issues, with your challenges, and what you are not feeling, or what you want to feel. Hey, I want to feel like you are, putting in as much effort as I am, or close to it. I want to feel desired too. I want to feel like I don't have to initiate all the time, whatever it is. I'd love to have help with the kids, with house cleaning, that type of situation, instead of ripping and roaring and bashing that other person in your relationship. Okay. So then it comes down to, if nothing changes, right? Then I want you to give yourself credit and props to be able to look at, yeah, I am doing this. I'm showing, I'm affectionate, showing him or her, I'm giving her or him hugs, kisses, affirmations, compliments. And I hardly feel I get any props, any good stuff thrown my way. My question is, again, have you brought it up? Like I mentioned a couple minutes ago. And, how long has this been going on for? And why are you continuing that battle? A lot of people will look at, if I stop, if I hold back, okay. And I even did an episode a little while back about, if you are the only one that's initiating intimacy, physical intimacy, to stop a little bit and have your partner start initiating, right? Sounds simple. It's not that easy, because again, we stop doing stuff, then we realize nothing will happen. The relationship will fall apart, and the marriage will fall apart. But don't you want your partner or your person to hold themselves accountable, and to be able to look at, hey, you know what? I want to make my person feel loved. I want to make them feel desired, craved, or, respected, appreciated, not taken for granted in the way that works for them, unless you are both not compatible. I get calls all the time on a weekly basis, if not daily basis, from people that say the same thing. I'm the one that's putting all the effort in, Greg. And it comes from men. Yes, it comes from women. And we have to dissect what actually works, what that person, what your person, what you need, right? Excuse me. Need a little drink of coffee. So, excuse me. So, to be able to, look at and talk to your partner, or what if your partner just says, oh, this is the way I am. I'm not going to change. I don't plan on changing. This is the way I am. There's nothing I can do about it. Then you have to reassess, is this relationship or this marriage, is it viable for me? And I'm all about putting forth the effort in, right? But I'm not for people putting forth all the effort all the time, right? It could be communication. It might be, I'm the only one that is going after, if there's issues in the relationship, I'm the only one that wants to talk about it. My person might either yell, scream all the time, or shut down. Everybody assumes men do this, women do this. There are research statistics that state on certain things, but I get away from that. I go after how you are. What do you need? what your partner is like and what does your partner need from you as well, right? So going back after it and looking at these elements about what do I need from my person? Maybe they don't know. Maybe they assume everything's okay and they're doing their part. So you have to be clear. You have to be specific and understand what is happening, what your person needs. Okay. So again, going after it, if you are doing all the work in a relationship, you're the one that's always affectionate, giving compliments, giving affirmations, making your partner feel appreciated. And it's one of those situations, and I hear this often in my relationship. Greg, it's like I'm doing everything. I'm also live like a single parent since I'm doing everything anyways, right? How many people have said that to their person, said it to their friends, family member? They haven't said, "Oh my God, I'm living like I'm a single person and I'm doing all the work." And my question is why? Number one, does your partner know that? And number two, are you afraid to change that because you're afraid of the relationship or marriage ending? I get that. I don't want that for anybody, but I also don't want anyone to be miserable and to become exhausted. And all of a sudden, resentment will start kicking in when you start realizing or start feeling and building, I'm doing everything in the relationship to make it work. And my person is not doing anything. I hear this, I'm telling you, on a daily basis. If not, it's every other day. And I get calls weekly from clients, potential clients with the same issue. Greg, I mean, men call me, women call me. I'm doing everything to make this work. And my lady, my man, whatever it is, they're not even trying, they're not even making effort. And my question is, what happens if you would stop? And there's a big fear in that. And I understand that. I get that. Okay. That the relationship is going to fall apart or nothing's going to, if I stop, nothing's going to get done. Nothing's going to get happening. And I want people to do their fair share. Absolutely. I want people to do their part in the partnership, in the relationship, in the marriage. Absolutely. You need to do your part, right? Or why would your person want to be with you? But a lot of people are afraid to stop and to maybe stand their ground, excuse me, because they're fear that if the relationship or marriage doesn't work, that they stand their ground, that they fail. Or a lot of people will feel like they're a failure, that they're not good enough. They're not, oh, my partner didn't do anything because they really don't love me. They really don't desire me. They don't, all these aspects, the insecurities. I understand it. I get it. But it comes down to a point where why does your person, your partner deserve being with you? Do you ever ask that, right? Why does your person end up deserving you? And it's not being arrogant, not being conceited, not at all. It's being realistic in rationalizing, what, if I'm showing my person, not lying, not making it up, because we all know there's people out there, right, that will say, I'm doing everything, and they're really not doing anything, right? They're not complimenting. They're not nice to their person. They're always nagging, nitpicking. They're very critical to their partner instead of looking at positives. So we all know people lie and, they'll tell everyone I'm the greatest person, the greatest partner. And you ask their partner and they're like, who are they talking about? It's not them, right? So I want people to be open and be honest and be legit and understand their role and what they're doing in the relationship, right? So when you start feeling I'm doing everything and you start getting to a point where why am I even in this? It's like I'm taking care of everything myself, even my person, my partner. What am I doing? Right. So you got to talk about it, number one. And then number two, if it doesn't change, what are you going to do about it? Either you're going to stop complaining about it, right? And be able to tolerate it. Again, this is your choice, everybody's choice, not mine, not other professionals in the field, not relatives, it's yours. Some people are afraid to make those changes or get out of those unbalanced relationships or marriages for fear of, like I said, that they're failing, that they're not lovable, that they're not good enough. So they're doing everything possible instead of stepping back and looking at, hey, you know what? I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be, treated with respect. I deserve to be desired. I deserve to feel appreciated. And again, you know what? It's different versus being, I'm entitled and arrogant versus I want to be loved this way. And if I don't, I want to talk about it. And if it doesn't change, then I have to make changes, right? Hey, Mrs. Horton, I appreciate you joining in on Instagram. I appreciate it. So when you look at, are you doing everything in a relationship? You're the only one that's affectionate. You're the only one that, like I said, provides love, does household chores, takes care of the kids, pays the bills, whatever it is. Okay. Look at specifically what you need so you don't feel like you are doing all the work. Number two, does your partner actually look at, hey, you know what? I don't want you feeling that way. No, what can I do? I want to help out. What can I do? And sometimes it's specific. Honestly, some people, women, men, doesn't matter. They have no idea. They think that what they're doing is enough or whatever. And it's not even intentional that they want you to feel that way. So they might not even have a clue. So you need to talk to them. You need to be open and honest about how you feel. And then you need to be able to go from there. Okay. And we know tit for tat battles. I want to get away from that. I would love your partner to say, oh my God, I don't want you to feel like you're doing everything in the relationship. What can I do to help? That would be great, right? As I clap. So, hey, what can I do? I want to take some stress off of you. What can I do to help? What can I do to make you feel more loved, more desired, more respected? It's like, one person in a relationship is doing all the work. And when it comes to intimacy, right? They're the ones always initiating intimacy. They're being affectionate, giving kisses, compliments. And if they don't do it, then what happens is, intimacy won't even happen, right? Because their partner will never initiate. They'll never talk about what they want, what they desire, what they don't desire. And there's no growth. There's no evolution. And then the person that is used to doing everything or wants to hold those communication opens, they'll stop, right? When they feel like they're the ones that are driving intimacy or driving the partnership, whatever it is, household chores, whatever, pretty soon it's going to change. It's going to stop. Okay. And the person's, oh, what happened? What's going on? You don't love me. You don't whatever. And it's all about them versus looking at, why did your person stop? Did they constantly talk about it? Did they try to have this conversation about how they feel and you just either ignored them, you didn't want to do anything about it, or maybe you couldn't do anything because that's not you? Then the relationship or marriage have to be reassessed. Okay. So going back, if you feel like you are doing everything in a relationship or marriage, look at your fears if you stop, right? Look at how you want to be treated and address the fears. As if the relationship or marriage ends, I'm going to feel lonely. I get it. A lot of people are scared to death to feel lonely, to feel like they're not lovable, not desired. But I want you to look in the mirror. I am a good person. I am desirable. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. I've been having it. I've been working my butt off to try to make this relationship work. I want a partner. I want to help. So I want you to be secure and confident and courageous in looking at what you are doing. I'm all about people absolutely being accountable and looking at, hey, what can I do differently? What can I do better? What can I stop doing? Right? Because a lot of people assume they're doing everything possible and they're not doing anything. Right? So you need to address that and address the fears. Are you afraid if the relationship or marriage ends that, family will be disappointed? We have kids. I don't want the kids to come from a broken home and all ass. I don't want that either. Not at all. Don't get me wrong, or take me out of context, please. No, not at all. I don't want that. But I'm going to ask if there's constant fighting and constant debates all the time, or you feel like you're doing all the work and the other person is an absent parent, right? Emotionally, physically absent, not engaged, not being a partner, not being a parent, or in the relationship as a whole, right? They could be a great parent, but not be a great spouse or a great partner. So you have to look at, do you want your kids to grow up to be with someone just like that, or to grow up and be like you are in your shoes? So changes have to be made, right? It's very difficult. And I know that, but I ask that question. Would you want your kids to grow up and be in the same situation you are? So you have to look at, address your fears. I'm all about it. Don't ignore them. Look at, if the relationship or marriage does end, it might be finances. We might have to sell the house, might have to move. It's a lot, but we're looking at your happiness and your health and what you want in a relationship. So address it. Maybe your person doesn't know that you feel like you're doing everything in a relationship. And when you're in my office or called, they have no clue. I never knew you felt that way. You never talked about it. Please respect your person, respect your relationship, marriage, bring up the issues, speak from the heart and soul. Don't attack. Say, hey, I feel like I'm doing everything. I'd like you to be more of a partner. And if your person yells and screams and doesn't want to change, then decisions are going to have to be made. Either you stop complaining about it, right? Or the relationship or marriage might have to take a different direction. Okay. So I appreciate it. Everybody, check out my website. It is getting rebranded, so it's looking different. Check it out, theartofrelationships.org, people. And all over social media, Love Guru Greg. And I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you so much, everybody. Everybody take care. Happy Wednesday.